UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson and the United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres convened a roundtable with a focus on a $100 billion climate action fund. Johnson urged the world's richest nations to fulfill their promise of a financial package to help developing countries cut greenhouse gas emissions. He added that the UK is taking steps to phase out coal. The conference comes ahead of the major COP26 climate summit, which will begin in UK's Glasgow in late October, with the 2015 Paris climate deal as the main agenda. However, hardly any participants on track to meet its commitments. As per the pact, signatories had agreed to keep global warming below 1.5 degrees Celsius. The protect communities and natural habitats, mobilize funds to tackle climate crisis, and joint action by governments, businesses and civil society. Now, in the roundtable, Johnson called countries to switch to clean and green fuel to reduce emissions, as well as stress on the hydrocarbon resources.
I think that Glasgow COP26 is a turning point for the world, and it's the moment when we have to grow up and take our responsibilities. I think we go through, a period of glorious indifference about the world. We've been through that. We've been through our childhood, if you like. We now got to realise that this is a problem that requires grip, and there are changes we're going to have to make. But people should be optimistic, because we can make these changes whilst encouraging the creation of literally millions of high-wage, high-skill jobs. We need to move from old hydrocarbon technology into new, clean, green technology.
Guterres also called on nations to meet the UN sustainable goals on climate to avert further disasters. A large part of the global body's goals are dedicated to saving the planet. They are urgent action to combat climate change, climate-related disaster mitigation, integrate climate change measures into policy, build knowledge and capacity to meet climate change, implement UN Framework Convention on Climate, and climate communication. In the meeting, the UN chief said that all countries should cancel subsidies on coal plants and transition from coal-powered plants to clean fuel.
We need decisive action now around net zero commitments from all countries and the private sector. And I want to mention one specific challenge: energy. Governments must shift subsidies away from fossil fuels and progressively phase out coal use. If all planned coal power plants become operational, we will not only be clearly about 1.5 degrees, we will be well above 2 degrees. And the Paris targets would go up in smoke. OECD nations need to end coal use by 2030. Developing nations need to follow suit by 2040. And we need coalitions of solidarity between countries that still depend heavily on coal and countries that have the financial and technical resources to support transitions.
And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Teherani has sent us this report from New York. Let's listen in.
WION-USA Direct from Washington, D.C. with Susan Teherani.
President Antonio Guterres has mentioned that in the very first remark he made as the 76th session of the UNGA officially kicked off its high-level week this week at the SDG moment, the Sustainable Development Goal moment, at around 7:40 a.m. local time with his speech that you talked about. We now know that that roundtable meeting, the anticipated one that's being co-chaired by UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, is going to take place in about 15 to 20 minutes at around 11 a.m. local time, and he is expected to once again pinpoint the urgency of climate change and also talk about the targets that he hopes to achieve along with Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and also call in the private sector to really hone in and take part as really he really pushes on this, but also, as we've been telling you and our viewers from the onset of our broadcast, that it's climate change on the one hand, but member states are really asked also and are eager to talk about their solutions on COVID, on the pandemic, on redefining the post-pandemic global economy.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.